Anyway, LAMBO versus SOS. Oh, this can be a bloodbath or an insane stomp through both sides, really. Like, it's hard to stress how these players are different. And somewhat similar as well. Like, it's really hard to explain what is in my mind right now. These two players have been one of my favorite players ever. It can really make even the best players look like fools. Of course, both have had a lot of ups and downs, as I was saying before. But those are two kind of staples of pro play in StarCraft, so I don't expect them going anywhere anytime soon. Except for SOS going into military, but it will be back, like all players are recently. Coming back, sometimes even stronger than before. Patiently waiting for the likes of Gumio, Hero, Su, Classic, and many others to come back from the military to show us that age is not a factor in this game. Like, be honest, that this did for us. Like DRG has done for us, like Bomber has done for us. You don't see anything too crazy coming out yet from any of those. We see LAMBO taking a very aggressive third base. Well, third / natural. Like, you know what is up between Zerg and Protoss. Like, you don't take your own natural if you're a Zerg. On the other side, you see SOS taking a Stargate as his first tech option. Very early in the game, 230 is going to be the timing, delaying Workgate by a little bit. Of course, that's just how you play a Stargate opener. But what I'm the most curious about is this going to be a Void Ray? Like, Romanticide is just a very decent Stargate map. It's a big map. It has a lot of high grounds and low grounds. It has a lot of choke points actually, with bridges and rocks and all the likes. Yes, it's going to be a Void Ray first. And being able to gain map control with air units is just something that is just that good on most big maps. Because there is just much more area to control. So that's why you go for this kind of little... The Twilight Council follow-up immediately after. SOS will drop down a couple gateways as well to get to 3, I guess. Actually, a third one. Alright, this is getting a little bit sketchy already. This Void Ray is gonna get the Overload killed very quickly. And there's a pylon in the wall. SOS really trying to hide something. I don't see many other reasons to go for this kind of build. Like another pylon, which was much needed. Oh, here it comes. It is Resonating Glaives. In the end, Stargate into Resonating Glaives. Very strong. Timing attack. See LAMBO already taking some precautions against the Stargate play, dropping Spur Colors left and right, and here comes Roach Warren. I think something in LAMBO's mind has already clicked. Seeing the pylon in the wall, he probably knows there's something fishy. And he's looking to blind counter the Resonating Glaives build, which is something that is just so usual nowadays. It's not really even a blind counter, he just knows that is up. And that's also an early lair, he feels very confident about this. Spending those minerals and gas instead of getting a couple more roaches can be highly detrimental in most cases against this build. Of course, there's no Warp Prism to support this, so all he needs to do is just barely hold it. The early lair is a huge follow-up for what he wants to do next, especially with a triple Stargate built by Man, this guy is just all over the place. He's going to go very heavily into Void Rays, but these Void Ray alongside the Adepts are actually getting a lot of damage already. One of the Queens is about to fall. Link's trying to get a wrap around on top of the Adepts, but they're already shading into the main. As you can see, scouting the lair, 9 roaches in the making, more Void Rays incoming to counter just those roaches. Meanwhile, the Queens trying to do their best to stop the Adepts, but they're gonna complete yet another shade in the natural of the Blue Zerg. LAMBO falling apart. Finally, the roaches are out, and they can finally put an end to this, but so many drones falling one after the other. And that's still finding a way to get something done, which is kind of crazy. Still getting on top of Queens. My goodness. More and more drones falling one after the other. This is crazy damage for SOS with just this little amount of deaths. Meanwhile, back home, he's already outgrowing his opponents by quite a fair bit. 55 workers to 37. With a lot of Void Rays to already counter the Roach play. LAMBO looking for damage, sending the Queens throughout the map as well. Trying to look for Void Rays spread throughout the map. More Adepts trying to get a shade in on the left side of the map. But it's already 4 Void Rays already trying to get on top of Queens. The triple Stargate play. Man, Queens against Void Rays. It's always a trick for the eyes. But in the end, there's not a lot of transfuses available, and there's still 4 Adepts in the natural of LAMBO. LAMBO with the Desperation Maneuver, that's a lot of Ravagers piling down the Void Rays to zone them from the army of the Zerg player. 8 more drones are gonna fall, 29 workers to 58, doubling his opponent, his SOS. Void Rays are gonna fly away from the Ravager piles. Is there enough back home to defend for SOS? It's just those Void Rays. They're trying to get on top of the Ravagers, on top of the Queens as well. There's not a lot of energy on these shield batteries. Shield battery overcharge, not used yet to keep these things alive. Alright, here it comes. Trying to keep the Zealots alive on the ground. There's nothing to defend against the Roaches and Zerglings. Queens falling in numbers. They cannot keep up with the Void Rays. But can the rest of the army of LAMBO end this game? It cannot. SOS takes game number 1 of the series. Another Hutch block coming from SOS. LAMBO will not even bother. It's gonna take once again the low ground third to maybe get something a little bit more aggressive on the way. He really tried in that first game to get his own thing going. It was a good strategic plan. SOS just had the perfect counter, and it was just absolutely unstoppable with the Adept play. It was fairly crazy to see SOS put that into play without even a Warp Prism. It wasn't really looking like Adepts were falling anytime soon. And by Edge Gas Pool and a Gateway Expand on the side of SOS instead. Not really scared of any shenanigans. He's gonna drop the Nexus before the 7-8 score. Another fairly standard opener once again. Pylon dropped in his own main base, and there's something that's not always certain talking about SOS, so it's necessary to point it out. He's not proxying anything with his second pylon. This is not PvP, it's not that important, but still, when you talk about SOS, it can be important. Again, another Stargate opener from the Protoss player, was actually looking to hide something, maybe. Possibly a pylon, even in the natural base of LAMBO. Light Shade is a very big natural. There's a lot of space. So we'll confirm that there is indeed a third archery being dropped by the Zerg player. I will also just chill for now. Just wait for the right moment. It's probably going to be... I think it's going to be another Void Ray first. into Adepts and Twilight Council. It's just a very safe way to play the game. Even if the Adepts timing doesn't really get a lot of damage done, you still have a very strong defensive option back home, as you've seen in the previous game. And it's much faster than any Robo Transition can ever be. Robo Transitions are very cute, like really, I love to see them, they're very interesting to see, but it just takes a lot of time for Colossi to come online, it takes a lot of time for Disruptors to get to critical mass. There's an Oracle incoming for SOS, that is honestly weird. Yeah, okay, cancel it. He was just looking to fool LAMBO by starting that, which is very good considering he also had a Chrono Boosted at one structure. There's a second Stargate and a Fleet Beacon, yes. SOS just jazzing, just styling here on Lightshade. There's no real way for LAMBO to find out what is up. But Ray making his way through the map, trying to get some damage on. Of course, there's a Radio Queen to stop this from ever becoming a reality. The Overload is gonna go down in the end. Beautiful prismatic overcharge. Or just prismatic charge. Oh my god. This is a huge doubt that I have in my mind right now. Well, let's not think about it. Fleet Beacon almost completed. And SOS not really looking to find some damage with his Adepts. Just trying to fool LAMBO around with 2 carriers being produced at once. More Adepts in the making to keep up with the Zerglings on the low ground. But there's no Twilight Council inside. LAMBO will go again for a lair opener, of third base being dropped by SOS, and LAMBO not really looking to get anything significant on the map. Like 6 roaches are on the way. He's kind of collecting a lot of gas as well. Oh, with a 600, well actually a 500 economy, it's probably on 3 gas. Huh. Carriers still fairly hidden for SOS. He could get to critical mass before LAMBO can get anything done with it. Of course, the early lair is going to help, but I don't really think the LAMBO is going to throw down a Spire. Of course, I just said that and he throws down a Spire. He was probably thinking about Mass Void Rays again. That's not the play. It's Carriers. Spire is even better. Of course, Hydra Denti critical mounts can easily get a counter and stop everything on the ground with Lurkaden. But as you can see, it's Carriers. And 2 of them can already get something done. At least force a lot of energy out of Queens. Or even get a couple kills. Yeah, Interceptors don't fall that easily, do they? You cannot target those. And one after the others, these Queens are taking severe amounts of damage as Porcolor is getting on the way. And once it's rooted, it's time for SOS to fly away. 3 Queens killed by the Protoss player. Meanwhile, yeah, why not? Resonating Glaives, 7 minutes. You have 4 carriers on the map and you get Resonating Glaives. This is SOS for you guys. It's just a crazy player. And the Spire isn't coming, but Corruptors, they don't do much against the Depths, do they? With 4 gateways on the way, no real way to scout it for LAMBO. 11 Corruptors for the 3rd player. It's only going to be these 4 carriers. I don't see much more incoming. And these 4 carriers are getting such crazy amounts of Queens killed, one after the other. Wait, did one carrier actually die? No, it didn't. And SOS just styling on LAMBO right now. No more Queens left for defense. Finally, the Corruptors are out. But SOS is not even recalling. It's just, oh yeah, finally starts to recall. It's gonna lose 2 carriers, which is actually very good for LAMBO. But yeah, it's going to be Adepts on the ground, guys. 10 more roaches. What a read by LAMBO. The read to go all out right now. There's so many Adepts out right now for the Protoss player. Can this be enough? Corruptors are not going to do anything against this. They can stop the carriers. They will stop the carriers and the Void Ray. Focusing down the Void Ray first, then getting on top of these carriers. Shield battery overcharged, not used that. The shield battery is out of energy right now. Overcharged, still not used. The Adepts on the way throughout the map. Lambo forces and his units back home. Caustic spray from the Corruptors over the Nexus to stop the economy from SOS. Meanwhile, in the bottom right of the map, so many Adepts have made their way. 10 more roaches incoming. It might be too little, too late for SOS. The Adepts trying to slow down the Zerg player, but there's so many roaches out. 14 drones falling down. 21. Oh my god, this is getting to crazy amount of damage. But can SOS come back from the devastating losses yet? 21 workers killed. That's a very good start. But 7 more roaches are in the making. Lambo not really even thinking about getting a substitute for the lost drones. Dark Shrine went behind. It's always a great option for SOS, trying to take his third Nexus once again. With +1 ground weapons incoming, but so many roaches and even an Overseer for safety incoming for Lambo. Adepts trying to get on top of these Ravagers, trying to stop these morphs, but it's already time for Lambo to strike at the fort. Ground weapons is going to be denied for the Protoss player. A huge concave is ready to be set up for Lambo. Meanwhile, Caustic Spray on the natural. It's going to be again 2 bases for SOS. The Photocannon is going down. Shield battery overcharged, trying to do its best to keep the army of SOS alive, but the roaches relentlessly marching forward. More stalkers being warped in without upgrades, without blink. It's just shield battery overcharged and not even that anymore. More roaches marching throughout the map. SOS trying to buy time for the Dark Shrine, but here comes the Overseer, and not even Dark Templars can save the Protoss player anymore. GG gets gold, and Lambo will get his revenge. The score is tied 1-1